Well, the Washington Commanders are preparing for a stretch run and they make some roster moves that are really good. If you're new to the channel, we are Detroit Lions fans, so we have this channel talking about teams that are just under the radar, don't get the love nationally like they should. Commanders being one of those teams. They jumped out to a really hot start, a couple losses here, still sitting at 7-4, everything in front of them. And they signed somebody that I really like. Before I get to that, though, curious, Commanders, who's your most hated? Like, who do you hate being a Commanders fan? Is it the Cowboys? That's kind of my guess, but I could see you kind of hating like the Giants for sure, Jets, anybody over there by you. But Cowboys, right? Like that's your most hated team as a Commanders fan. Let me know in the comments who you hate. Personally, for me, it's Bears. It's Bears and Cowboys. Yeah, I thought the Cowboys in there. Okay. So what the Commanders did was they signed a big-bodied wide receiver, um, Michael Straken, and this dude's 6'5", 225. He went to Charleston, and then he was with the Colts for 3 years, Carolina Panthers, and now comes to the Washington Commanders. And you can see a couple moves that you've made here. You've got your defensive end opened up its 21-day window. You've got Michael Strake into the practice squad. Now, the reason I like this and why I say they're kind of preparing for their stretch run is it doesn't hurt to have a big-bodied wide receiver in case you need them, kind of red zone late in the season. Things get a little weird, weather turns. So I like that. Just grab them up. And I always think it's kind of interesting how we think of general managers and what they do in the draft and free agency. But in season, there's a lot that can happen as well. So big bodied receiver, I like it. And here's something I think is really important as you look at this is PFF has the Washington Commanders ranked 13th. But more importantly, strength of schedule remaining is 27th. Really good. Projected win total 11. Chances of making the playoffs 87.3%. So I know it's been okay, kind of struggling here offensively. Off to that, I mean, just things were riding as high as they could have been after that Chicago win. But you're still 7-4, headed towards a wild card spot at the minimum. And it's like, okay, do that all day. So this offense is fun to watch. You've got a young quarterback. Like things are still, you got to be pumped if you're a Washington Commanders fan. I keep talking about this, but the Lions, you see where they are now, but this first year when they changed regimes, they were 0-11 out of the gates. You guys change regimes and you're able to still be winning like in the first year. So you got to be excited. Sky's the limit. This feels like it can be sustainable. Trajectory is good. So all things are good. I guess 7-4, everything's in front of you. You got to be excited to where you're at. Now, if you look here at a couple things I think interesting now is young quarterback, all good, generally healthy. Everybody's banged up. You've got players out. Like we all get that, but I think there's that core group that just has to stay healthy for you to have a chance. And just like if you don't, then forget about it. But quarterback, defense is generally healthy. I think you got to be happy about that. And then if you can continue to just be efficient offensively, you're going to be in a lot of games and win a lot of games. So let's take a look. I want to look at your remaining schedule and really look at this because like I was just saying, you've got a weaker remaining schedule, which is like the best news ever because it's not about who you play, it's when you play them, right? So that's just like, let's go. So let's take a look at this. I'll pull it up. Two back-to-back losses, but here's the key. Dallas is terrible. So you're playing that at home. It's a must-win, got to have it. You're playing two just bad teams and we can confidently say that this year. In years past, you can't say that NFL teams are bad. I mean, you can, right? But it's always like you'd never know. This year is the first year it feels different where bad teams are bad. And the good teams are good. And again, it's the NFL, so you can't chalk anything up. But at the same time, this Dallas, if you're going to be a playoff team like you'd hoped, then you got to beat Dallas and Tennessee. If you can't beat them, then it's like, well, I guess we weren't really as good as we thought anyway, then, right? But it's like, no, if we're a playoff team, we'll beat Dallas, we'll beat Tennessee at New Orleans, perfect. Philadelphia again, that's kind of feels like that would be for the division, that game. Atlanta and Dallas. So you've got two games, Philadelphia and Atlanta, that are kind of okay. Like, all right, we'll find out some things. The other ones are like, gotta have them, just because we believe we believe who we think we are is a team that can make the playoffs. And if that's the case, then we've got to beat these inferior teams, especially at home. So love seeing that. Dallas, geez, come on. Dallas. I knew you were playing Dallas, but at the same time, I asked that question earlier. It's like, oh yeah, you're playing Dallas. That's right. A couple other things I wanted to show you that that are pretty cool is PFF also did an advanced coverage grade through week 11. And I know this is an eye chart. See if I can blow it up for you. Washington, one of the things from the years past was just bad pass defense. Bad defense. Had a mumbled jumbled defensive line that should have been dominant but wasn't. Couldn't cover anybody. Now you've got players ranked number 2, right? So think about this. If you've got 32 teams in the league, you've got 2 corners on each team, so it's 64. So these top 64 say this is the top starting corners in the league. And so for you to have a couple players in here, Sandra still 42, Lattimore 43, right? So that's saying these guys are better playing above their position. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Here's Noah up here at number 2. So you've got 3 players in your secondary in the top 43 in the secondary. So the secondary is much improved. Defense is so much settled down. It's going to keep you in every game. You've got a young quarterback. Find out what they're all about. Like this is what it's all about. What I mean is this is fun for us Lions fans, for the Commanders fans. Like this is what we've asked for. As you get into Thanksgiving time, let's have meaningful games versus, oh man, we're 2-8 and or even maybe a little bit better record, but it's like, what are we doing? We're not actually gonna, we're 5-7. No, this is meaningful games for both of our franchises. That's what we want. That's what's fun heading into December. Fun, meaningful football. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Most hated team, let me know. And you've got some new players coming in. Keep your head up. Things are looking good for the Commanders. And we'll see all of you on the next one.